Hey everyone. So now we are going to learn how to model organic shapes in Rhino. So to be able to model organic shapes, we will have to learn the SubD tools. And these are what we are going to cover in this tutorial. We are going to start by learning how to create SubD objects. Then we are going to learn some important shortcuts and selection methods. After that, we are going to learn some important tips about how to use a Gumball, because basically when we are going to adjust an organic shape, we are going to use the Gumball a lot. After that, we are going to learn more about SubD editing tools to add edges, to remove edges, and a lot of other stuff. And finally, we are going to learn a few other commands that are useful in editing SubD too. So if we find the SubD tool here, in this group of tools, let's go to perspective, double click to maximize the view. And the first thing we want to learn is how to create a basic shape to start editing it. So we have the primitive shapes, which is a box, sphere, cone, cylinder, torus, and etc. And let's see the setting and how to create it. And I always will recommend you to open the help. This will give you a clear guide for each tool. Let's start by creating a box. So you have an option for how to draw it. You can draw it by 3-point or diagonal. And the X and the X, Y, and Z count is the number of divisions. So for example, let's set this to 4, and let's set the Y count to 2. So select type 2, and the Z count to maybe 2 also, or set it to 5. And let's draw it 3 points. So press F8 opens also. We can specify the length 5 meter, click, 5 meter, click, and the height maybe 7 meters, and click. So as you can see, the number of divisions here are 5, and in the Y are 2, and in the X it is 4. To switch between the smooth and the flat mode, press tab. And there is a setting for each other, all the other basic shapes. For example, the sphere, you can specify the style. For example, if we set quad, and you can set the number of division to 1, it will be divided like this. Right click to bring the command again. If we specify it to be triangles, as you can see, the sphere is made from triangles. This one is made from quads, and you can set it to UV. This one creates a sphere made out of quad faces, and a triangle fan at the poles. So you can check these basic tools and check the settings of it from here. So I'm going to save time. I'm going to move to another methods to create shapes, which is sweep one rail, sweep two rail, loft, revolve. These are very useful tools, but there is a very important thing that you have to know first. For example, let's try to create something. Let's draw a curve here, maybe. Let's go also and draw a curve like this. Selected, hold Alt to copy. A few more times. Start changing the control points a little bit. So up maybe, like this. So now let's try to create a loft between these 3 curves, a SubD loft. If I select all these 3 curves and choose loft, let's check the corners, you will realize that the surface is not following the curves perfectly. So press cancel for now. So to fix this problem, we can select the curves and choose make curve SubD friendly. This will change the curves, but now if I create the loft, I selected all the curves and created the loft, open the corner, as you can see, the loft surface is following the curves perfectly. And also when you start drawing the curve, if you know that you are going to create a SubD from these curves, when you select the curve, make sure to set SubD friendly to yes. Then now whatever the curve I draw, the SubD surface is going to follow it. And to know that this curve is a SubD friendly or not, if you selected it, you will see this locked point here and this locked point here. If you saw it, then yes, this is a SubD friendly curve. If it didn't exist, then it is not SubD friendly. Okay, now let's delete this for now and check the detailed setting of the loft. So let's select the loft, select this curve, and this one, and then right click. We can check the corners. This will make the corners crease. You can make it close, but of course, for something like this, it's going to be weird. And we can adjust the number of divisions here. And we adjust the shape segment, but this will make it not following the curve exactly. So for example, here, if I started adding more segments or reducing them, it is not going to follow exactly the shape, but maybe in some cases you might actually need to add some more segments here. And there are a few more settings. For example, here, as you can see, this crease, if we have, if the curve has a kink here, if you check this, it will make this edge creased. And this for closed. If you have shape like this, it might be useful. So this for the loft. Now let's check sweep to rail. Let's adjust these curves a little bit and maybe draw a profile here. Let's draw a curve here. Check SubD friendly, set to yes, and let's draw some kind of curve here and maybe adjusting it like this. Now let's go to the SubD tools, choose sweep to rail, choose rail 1, rail 2, then the profile, then right click. Of course, since all the curves are SubD friendly, it is following the curves perfectly. We can also check the corner to make it crease or smooth. We can adjust the shape segments and the rail segments too. If we set the rail segments to 0, this will adjust it to a value that will make it follow the rail perfectly. We can increase this. Let's select this rail, this profile I mean, and this curve, and hold Alt to copy. Let's now check, or let's delete this for now. Let's draw another curves. Let's draw, select, choose curve, set some different to yes, and let's draw maybe some kind of a rail like this. Let's draw a rectangle here. Let's set it to 3 point, and set the open the ortho, press F8 opens ortho, set the length to 6 meters and the height maybe to 5. Then click. Now let's type orient on curve, select the rectangle, right click, select the point, select the curve. Now choose here perpendicular. Let's flip the Y direction and press orient it here. Now let's create a sweep one rail from this curve and this profile. Choose sweep one rail, select the rail, select the profile, and then right click. So we have the corners here too. But since this profile is closed, so it didn't do any effect. We can create crease at kink. Here, for example, as you can see, let's keep crease at kinks. We can increase the number of segments. And we can, if we uncheck crease at kink, we can increase the number of segments here. But keep it crease at kink for now. And then press OK. Also, you can check more settings here. As you can see, this is for the corner. And then press OK. So this is for sweep to rail, sweep one rail, and this is for loft. Let's check revolve. Let's maybe take this profile, hold Alt and copy it. Let's create a revolve from this one maybe, but let's do a few adjustments, maybe moving this up a little bit. Select the shape, choose revolve, then select the axis, open the ortho, and let's go to this point and snap to the Z like this. Then right click, set the angle to 360, and segment count, let's set the segment count to 5 maybe. Then right click. So it is divided into 5 segments. Let's delete this for now. I want to do it with the 360 angle. So right click to bring the command again. Draw the X. Set the angle to 360. And the number of segment to 8. Press enter. Set it to 360. Right click. So as you can see, we have 8 segments. And the same, we can check the remaining setting of it from here. So the other amazing tool that I want to show you is SubD pipes. So for example, if we draw some lines here, let's select all of them and go to SubD tools, choose SubD pipe. As you can see, it created an organic pipes between all of them. We can set the strut. The strut is the number of divisions between these lines. If I set it to 0, so there is no segments here. If I set it maybe to 3, this is the radius. Okay, so let's delete this for now. Let's create it again. Select the curves. Let's choose SubD pipes. Let's press S or select here in the struts and set it to 3. So we have 3 segments here. Select it again, set it to 2. For the radius, let's set the radius to 0.5 maybe, or maybe 1. You can choose it to be capped or no. And after you finish, right click. So this is very useful too. And the last tool that I want to explain that's very useful too is creating a single SubD face. You actually can use it to create a multi, but it's called single SubD face anyway. Anyway, select it. If you set the mode to multi faces, and let's set the polygon type to quad, you can create a shape like this, and then create another one here. But before using this tool, make sure to press tab to switch to the flat mode, because this will make it easier for you to snap to the vertex. Now, after I created this shape, I want to add more faces to it. You can select the SubD and come here it's going to automatically append the faces. Draw a face, then draw another face, since the mode is set to multiple, then right click. Or you can select this tool and choose here append, then select the SubD. For example, you can select this one and then right click. So any face I will draw here is going to be part of this shape. So this is very useful when you are going to create a very organic shape that is not following any order action or any curves. There are two other important tools for creating shapes, which are, let's start with Radiant. So if you have a symmetrical shape, for example, if I have this shape and I want to mirror it and start editing it, and it's going to be symmetrical along this axis, for example. So I will select all these edges. So hold Control Shift to select some objects, and then set point, set PT to X direction to align all these edges here. Now I can select this and choose Reflect and choose the X, and then right click. So it created another copy here, and the objects are joined along this axis. And if I did any adjustment here, this one is going to be adjusted too. So this tool is very useful when you are working on a symmetrical shape. And you can repeat it, by the way. For example, if it is symmetrical along this axis too, I can select it again and create another copy here. Let's select this, Control Shift and select these edges, and then set the points to Y direction to align all these points in this Y direction. Select the object and choose Reflect and create another plane here, and then right click. So now we have a copy here, and I just need to adjust only this one, and all the others are going to be updated. So it is very useful. Let's select this, and to cancel it, you can select the object and then right click in the same icon. So the symmetry has been cancelled. So let's control that for now. There is another thing that we can do also. Let's copy this. Let's cancel remove the symmetry. There is another command which is similar to this, but it is more of radial. It's called Radiant SubD, this one. If I, for example, select this shape, let's do a few adjustments to these edges, maybe make it something like this. Let's select this one, select this tool, and choose 4 maybe, choose this point. As you can see, it created 4 copies. So let's start adjusting this one. Of course, there are some overlap here. Let's move this maybe something like this. Move it down. I want just to avoid this overlap. This one need to go here. These edges need to be adjusted. You can select this points. Zoom away a little bit. Let's stitch these points together. I will come back again to all the editing tools. Don't worry. I'm just trying to show you how it works. So now whatever the adjustments that I do here, all the remaining shape are going to be updated. And to cancel the gradient, for example, until now, when they are shaded like this, whatever the adjustment I did here is going to be updated to the other shapes. But what if I want to cancel it? You can select the object and came here to the reflect, and then right click to remove the symmetry. And here, if you right click here, you can use it to find the gradient pattern. For example, if I selected this one and then this one, as you can see, the gradient has came again. So to cancel it, you can cancel it from here, press right click, and to bring it back, you can came here, right click, and then select the first symmetry and then the second. Okay, first symmetry and then the second. Okay, now I will run through the basic shortcuts and selection method for SubD. So the first shortcut is tab to switch between smooth and flat mode. The second shortcut is hold Control Shift to select sub-object or deselect. The third shortcut is hold Control and move using the Gumball to extrude. You will be able to extrude object, or you can move it using this circle to extrude. Now for selection also, if you double click on an edge, you will be able to select a loop and hold Control Shift and select the first one, then the second one, and double click. You will select the whole loop, and the same thing if you want to select a loop like this, select this edge, then double click here to select all these edges at the same time. And the same thing goes to the faces. So for example here, Control Shift, select this, then double click here to select this entire loop. So double click to select a whole face. And if you want to select a line, for example, let's copy this, select the object and hold Alt and move to copy. Let's subdivide it for now. I will come back to this command again. I just subdivided it to add more faces. If I want to select all these faces at once, I can hold Control Shift, select this and this one, then double click here. Sorry, select the zoom, Control Shift, select this one, then this one, and then double click here to select this entire row of faces. The same thing for edges, select this one, and then double click here to select this entire line of edges. And if I want to select all these faces, I can select this, for example, and now I want to select all the faces inside this. I can use select face boundary and then select this one. So I select all these faces. Now I can deselect this one. Let's try it here again. Let's select this entire loop. Now I want to select this, all these faces. I can select face boundary, select the objects, and Control Shift and deselect this entire loop by double click. And you can also use selection filter here. These 5 icons. This for selecting only edges. So now you can only select edges. This you can only select faces. And this you can only select vertex. And this to disable it. And this to reverse the selection. For example, here I selected these faces, hold Shift to select only object. Now I want to reverse the selection to select only the edges. You can click here and you click again to keep reversing the selection and to disable it from here. Now let's jump to some Gumball tips. So let's come here, for example. If we press Control Shift and select this face, you will find that the Gumball by default will be aligned with the C plane. So we can come here and select this circle and choose Align to Object. This will make the Gumball aligned to the object, and this will make it way easier to edit the SubD object. So usually it's better to make it align to the object. You can also move the Gumball. For example, if I want to scale this, but I want to scale it from here, so I can double click in this point to move the Gumball here maybe, and start scaling it like this. You can also rotate the Gumball. If I press here, double click, you can start rotating it. And the same thing, of course, here, I can double click here and start rotating. But I don't want to rotate it here, so I press escape. You can also move this handle for more accuracy. So double click in the handle and move it. This will give you more accuracy or more precision when scaling it. You can also relocate the Gumball. So let's say Control Shift to select this face. You can relocate the Gumball based on 2 lines or 2 axes. So if you can select in this, select the circle and choose relocate the Gumball. So you can select this point, the point in which it's going to be placed, and the first X and the second one. Now you can move this handle and start maybe scaling it like this. And to scale uniformly, I want, for example, maybe scale this face, select this face, and I want to scale it uniformly. If you hold Shift, you will be able to scale uniformly. If you wanted to insert SubD edges, if you hold Control Shift and select the face, and now I will hold Control Shift and start scaling. As you can see, we are creating more edges. And again, let's move this a little bit. Hold Control Shift and scale it again, and move this again. So hold Control Shift to add edge while scaling. And of course, we can, as we said before, hold Control to extrude, or you can move it using this circle to extrude. So this is a summary for the Gumball tips that we will use a lot while editing the object. Okay, now let's jump to the SubD editing tools. So let's first take this box, hold Alt to copy it, and let's do a few adjustments, maybe moving this a little bit like this. Let's align the Gumball to the C plane for now. Move this, something like this maybe. So the first tool is Insert Edge, Loop, or Ring, which is this one. So let's select it, choose loop, select this edge, and then right click. So as you can see, we are like inserting another loop. And let's take a look at the setting. The offset mode, now it is set to a proportion. So the value is actually from 0. 0 means it's going to be here, and 1 means it's going to be here. So 0.5 means it's going to be in the middle. So it takes the middle of this edge, and the middle of this edge, and this edge, and this edge, and so on. So there is another offset mode, which is absolute. Absolute means a constant value. As you can see, the line is as it is, and it has a constant offset value. So I usually set it to a proportional, but of course it's going to depend on your design and what you are going to do. So let's create an edge loop here, and let's try the ring. So the ring, for example, if I hold Control Shift, select this edge and this edge, and now I want to create an edge connecting here. So you can, if I choose it, it's going to, this is now a ring, which is this line. Let's try it again. If we select it and in the type set it to ring, select this edge. So it's going to create a complete ring here. You can set it to full or set it to range. So select this one and this one to create only an edge between these lines. Then right click. You can also set it to proportion or absolute. Absolute means it's constant value for this edge, or proportion, and add another one here like this. And you can of course delete any edge. So hold Control Shift, select this one, and then double click here and press delete. Okay, now let's go to insert SubD edge, which is this icon. For example, if I hold Control Shift and select all these edges, we can insert an edge. As we said before, if we hold Control Shift and start scaling, we are going to insert an edge. But press Control Z for now, or we can use this insert SubD edge command to insert it with a specific value. Let's make it 0.5, for example, and then right click. And if we want to insert an edge to all these faces, but as a single, not as a group, you can select it again, and in the mode, set it to single, and the value may be 0.2. As you can see, it created an SubD edge for each of these faces. Now you can move this inside or outside or whatever. You can also insert a point, for example, which is this command. So insert point to SubD or a mesh. So select this object. Then you can start drawing. For example, I want to draw an edge like this, but here I want it to go here, something maybe like this, and right click. So these three tools are for inserting edges or points. Now, what if we want to move an edge? For example, I want to move this edge, but I want to move it in this direction. There is this command, which is called slide, SubD edge or vertex. So as you can see, it is moving with this direction. In this setting, you can set it also to proportion or to absolute. And you can set it to move in this direction or in this direction by changing this setting. Something maybe like this. Now let's copy this again. Select select this box and hold Alt and move it away. I will delete this shape for now. Hold Ctrl Shift and press delete. Let's create a face here. I choose a bend and let's maybe create a face something like this. Right click to get the original shape. So now let's move to the crease. So there is two options for crease. There is soft crease and there is hard crease. Hard crease is the old crease in Rhino 7. Let's start with it. So as you can see here in the base, it is smooth. But what if I want to make it sharp? So you can double click here and select all these edges. And to choose hard crease from here, you can right click. And now as you can see, it is like, it's completely flat. This piece is now completely flat. This is a hard crease. Okay, what about the soft crease? Let's try to create soft crease for all these edges too. Choose, click here and choose soft crease. You can enter a value between 0 and 100. 0 means it's completely soft and 100 means it's completely creased. So let's make it 100 for now and press enter. As you can see, it is still a little bit rounded. And you can change the value in different edges or different vertex. So let's select this whole edge again, choose soft crease, and let's maybe select this point and set it to 50 maybe, 50, and choose this point too, set it to 50, and then right click. Now, if we check the radius here, we'll find that the roundness here is more than the roundness here, and it's like increasing gradually in this direction. Let's try different values again. Decrease, maybe set this to 100, this to 100, and this to 0, this to 0, maybe this to 0 also. 0. Let's see how it will look now. Okay, as you can see, it's completely round here and starting to gradually decrease. And this tool is actually very useful. In Rhino 7, we usually, let's set this again to smooth, so remove some decrease. Now it's completely smooth. So to achieve this, the same kind of crease here, double click here, select this boundary and select this. You will have to insert some kind of edge here and start maybe moving this here like this, move this down to get different values of, or different roundness. So this would save us a lot of work and will reduce the file size, because you do not have to create the same amount of edges or faces. So let's maybe copy this again, and let's set this back again to soft. Now there is another command, which is bevel, which is this one. So let's copy this a few more times. Let's select this whole edges. So there is different setting. You can also set it to proportion or absolute. Absolute means it's going to the value is going to be constant along all the edges, and absolute means it's going to be proportional with this spacing. It's going to be proportional with the edge length. We can set it to fillet. Now it's set to in the straightest, we can set it to 0. It's going to be like a fillet, or we can set it to 1. It's going to be like a chamfer. We can also set the segment number. You can set it to, if we're going to make it like a chamfer, we can set it to 1. And I want to show you something. If we are going to create a fillet between maybe only these two edges, so let's create a bevel here. And let's set the rounds to 0 and add 4 more segments. You will end up here with this weird face. So to adjust this problem, we will have to create some points here. So we'll come here and choose add insert point, select the SubD and start inserting points here. Right click, same thing in the next part. Click to bring the command again and start drawing lines here. So right click. So this is for the bevel. Okay, now the second command that we are going to learn is this one. It's called append face to SubD. It does the same as this one actually. So for example, let's copy this shape, select it, hold Alt and move to copy. Let's switch to the flat mode. Let's say for example I want to add few more faces here. For example, you can select this, select the SubD to add more faces, and right click and polygon type. Polygon means that we can draw it with unlimited number of edges, but I actually want it to be quad. So set quad, and we can start drawing like this. A face here, another face here, another face here. Maybe after that some face kind like this, another thing here, another one here. And when you finish, then right click and then start adjusting this. So actually we can achieve the same result using this command. Choose append and select the face and switch to the flat mode and start drawing. And now let's move to another command, which is bridge. So I'm going to copy this maybe a few more times. So the other command is bridge, which is this one. So for example, if I want to create a connection between these two faces, select the face this one and then select this one and then choose this command. You can choose if it's going to be creased or not, but keep it smooth, and you can increase the number of segments. You can change the strength a little bit. Let's make something like this and then press OK. You can also select more than one face. This came here, but the number of faces that I'm going to select in the first one should be equal to the number of faces in the second one. So for example here, if I selected like these 4 faces, and here I'm selected these 4 faces and choose the bridge, as you can see it created the bridge that we want. But now I press escape. But if we select here, for example, 2 faces, and here we selected maybe 4 and choose the bridge, it didn't work. They have to be equal amount of faces in both shapes. Select this and then choose bridge, then press OK. So this command is very useful too. And one of the now there is another command that is very useful, and which is a stitch. So let's say for example I start creating, maybe here I choose, let's create a face and choose multiple, and we start drawing something like this, and then I draw another one, but I missed the point here, so they are not actually joined together. So right click, switch to the ghost mode. If I select this edge and this edge, if I select this vertex and then this vertex and choose the stitch, as you can see it stitches them together, and I can set it to be here, here, or in the middle, or whatever. Same thing here. Select these two, choose stitch, it merges them together. And it also works with edges, not just the vertex. So if I came here and maybe start drawing a few more faces, let's close also. Let's delete this face for now. Let's draw maybe a face like this, another one here, another one here. Right click. Now I want to join these two edges together. You can select this edge, and go here to stitch. As you can see, they have been joined together. So stitch is very useful. And another command, but I don't actually use it a lot, but you have to use it careful, which is subdivide. So for example, here, if I want to subdivide this object to add more edges, the first thing that you will have to do is I recommend you to make a backup. So you can come here to the layers and create a new layer and name it backup. You can now hide this layer, came here and go to the layer, right click and choose copy object to layer. So now we have a copy in this header. So if I set this layer to visible, as you can see, there is two objects. Now I will hide it. You can select this object and type subdivide. So now the object has a lot of control points. Let's move this object away. If you want the backup object, we can open this layer and we have our backup. However, if we subdivided an object, but we want to edit, of course, editing something like this will, if we are going to edit by selecting edge by edge, this is going to take forever. So there is another workflow. Let's press Ctrl Z, which is a soft edit or soft transform. So if I select soft transform, set enable to yes, and the radius is the radius in which it's going to be affecting an object. Let's set it to maybe 7 meters and then press enter. And there is here a few different options. You can check them here, which are smooth, linear, and round and sharp. And this is how they will perform. Let's set it to smooth. Then right click. Now, if I selected an edge or a face, as you can see, it is not just affecting the face; it's affecting everything around this with a radius of 7 meters. And let's just to understand the scale, let's draw here a circle of radius 7 meters. So this is the range of its effect. So let's go to SubD again, choose and let's change the radius a little bit, make it 2 meters. Then here, if I right click, then here, if I can start adjusting, now the radius is a little bit smaller. But this is very useful when editing something like this with a lot of faces and edges. Okay, the other command that I want to show you is offset SubD. Let's copy this again. But also this command, I recommend you to create a backup before using it. If I want to add thickness to this object, you can use offset SubD. Click on it to reverse the offset direction. Choose the distance. You can set solid to yes or no. If no, it's going to create another SubD surface without connecting them together. And of course, if solid, let's set to 1 meter, just 1 meter. If we set solid to yes, it will connect both of them together. You can choose to delete input or no, set it to no to be able to have a backup. So we still have this surface because we set delete input to no. There are a few other commands that are very useful in editing SubD. So let's copy this one, hold Alt and move using the Gumball. The first one is align. So let's, for example, let's draw maybe some kind of a curve here. Let's say I want to align all these edges. I want to align all these edges through this curve. So there is a command called align. You can choose to curve and then select the curve. As you can see, all these points have moved to the curve instead of moving them manually. So this command is very useful. And there is also a lot of other options in align. So for example, let's select this edge and choose align and then choose to line. Then let's draw maybe a line here. As you can see, all the points have aligned to this line. So align is very useful. And there is another command which is set point. So for example, maybe I want to make this part flat. So to select it, let's select this whole loop and then go to the SubD and choose select face to boundary, select object, then unselect this loop. You can type set point and set it to Z. So all this part became flat. This is very useful in editing SubD too. Okay, there is another important command that we need to learn about. So let's come here, hold Alt and copy this object. Let's draw a line here. Move it up, scale it like this. Let's extrude it. And then move it up a little bit, then extrude it again. Select the two surface and press Ctrl G to join. Let's scale this a little bit. And maybe let's reverse it to something like this. A bit more and move it and make sure that it's covering the whole shape. So now let's say we want to align this all these points with this surface. We can use the project command, and I will show you how to use it. And there is a trick here. So if I came here and select, let's double click here and select this loop, and then select here, select face boundary and select this one. Let's switch selection to select only the vertex and choose project. Then set delete input to yes and direction to Z and select the surface and right click. So it has project everything to the surface. But as you can see, it looks weird. When you switch to the box mode, you will see that the edges are actually, some of them are above the surface. But however, if you switch to the smooth mode and select this object and it checks the vertex, you will see that actually all the vertex are actually aligned with the surface. So let's press Ctrl Z for now and see how can we fix something like this. So to fix something like this, we will have to select the edges. We'll have to switch to the custom mode and press F10. This will show us another control point, which is the points that are defining the shape in the flat mode. And I will select, come here in this view and select all these points. And now these are the control points that we want to project. It's a control points, not the vertex. So let's choose project and select the surface and right click. As you can see now, the surface is way cleaner. And there is another two very important commands, which is extract face. So let's say, for example, I want to isolate this shape. I can choose here extract surface, and I will extract this whole loop and then right click. So now this object is isolated, and but this whole loop is also isolated. So we can use join to maybe move this like this and select this to SubD and press Ctrl J or join them from here. You can choose the joining connection to be smooth or crease. Let's keep it smooth and then right click. And to join them back, we can type move and move it again to its position and select everything and join again. SubD join edge to set it to smooth, right click, and that's it. And finally, all the transform commands like cage edit, flow along surface, flow along curve. So let's check them. Let's copy this again, hold Alt and copy it maybe here. Let's start with cage edit. So let's select cage edit, choose bounding box, choose C-plane, and let's set the X point and Y, X and Y and the Z points to 4, and then right click, select the right click again, select we can select the cage, press F10 to open the control points. Now we can start adjusting the form using the cage edit. Broke the gesture, but it is fine anyway. So this is very useful too. And the second one is flow along curve. For example, maybe we have this shape, but we want to make it along some kind of a curve like this. So we can draw a reference curve here. Maybe move it to the middle like this. And we can come here and choose flow along curve. Select object to flow along curve. Then right click, select the base curve. Since in the option set stretch to yes, and then flow it along the curve. So we get more complicated shape that we can keep adjusting it. Increase the height of this part. Set the Gumball to object and start maybe moving this a little bit, and so on. And there is flow along surface also. So let's try to do something to flow along surface. Maybe we have this flat SubD, but we want to press F8 opens also and draw maybe some kind of surface here. Let's rebuild it. A few more control points. Open the control point by pressing F10 and start doing a few adjustments. And let's draw a reference surface here. Maybe something like this. And choose, and you can come here and choose flow along surface. Select the object to flow along surface. Right click, select the base surface, select the reference surface. And then let's hide this. So as you can see, the object has followed the surface. And we can, of course, keep adjusting it to get more complex shapes. Maybe we can make this edges crease. Select this, we can make this vertex creased. Go to the SubD tools and make them, right click here to make this edges creased, and so on. So another important tip, or there are some usual problems I want to mention, and I want to show you how to fix. The first thing is when using to NURB command. Sometimes you may want to create some Boolean iterations, so you may want to convert the SubD surface into a NURB. So there is a command called to NURB. Usually, delete input object will be set to no, and this is what we always want to do because we don't want to lose our SubD surface in case we want to do any adjustment. So always make sure that it is set to no before converting it into a NURB. So here is a NURB surface. Now you can start creating any Boolean iterations or trim it or whatever you want. And also the offset command, don't use it before having a backup, or set delete input to no also. And same thing to subdivide because it is irreversible. That's it for today. Thank you for watching and see you later.